everyone? Boys, are we here? Are we all live? Are we good? We're going to get ourselves unmuted.
I'm unmuted. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, Will. Hello, Will.
Hello. Greetings.
Where's Ben? Ben hasn't unmuted himself. Hey! There we are. What's that?
Doing a status.
You're doing a status. You're so organised, Ben.
I thought I better put something out about the broadcast.
Yeah. I mean, why not? Like just as we go on, it's better to keep it fresh in everyone's mind, right?
Yeah.
Spread the word. Go
I didn't
tell
want
your
to bombard
friends.
everyone with this rubbish all week.
No. You've never been known to do that in the interest of band promotion.
Yeah.
So we're experimenting with a different time slot today because all the days are the same. So why not? We've at least, I think, posted the right link this week. So we've got some people drifting in, and we're gonna chat bollocks again because that's what we do.
Yeah.
It's my favourite thing to chat. Anyway, so Will's gone. Hang on. Okay, so there might be the odd issue with some of the video stuff, but I'll try and keep on top of it and fix it as we go along. Lads, another week of doing absolutely sod all. How are we?
Good. All good.
I've been playing a bit more guitar this week.
Yeah.
I learned a song from the Cars film. I don't know what that says about my state of mind, but I mean, I watched Cars recently with my little girl, and it's got a song in it called "Life Is a Highway."
Right.
It's just brilliant. It's just one of those modern country rock bands that are so bad it's good. It's so uncool that it's cool. And you know Velo, who played with us, I've just put him through it as well. I had to show it. I showed him the solo. He's just sat through the whole solo, rhythm part, and everything.
Does he think you've lost it?
I'm not sure. I don't know. It stayed pretty deadpan. I'm not sure whether he was digging it or not. I bailed on it about halfway through the lesson, and we did some arpeggios and sweeping and God knows what.
Right. I'm just going to quickly say, Paz, you said that my mic's quiet. I suspect you're listening on a phone. The problem I've got at the moment is my mic's coming in on a left channel, which tends to be the quieter channel on a phone's audio thing. So if you have headphones or you have a stereo or you have your computer, it should be all right on there. But yeah, that's what the issue was last week. I tried to fix it today, but nothing I was trying actually worked. So we need to we're just gonna have to go with that for now. But yeah, that's the reason I'm quiet. Who's in here? Steve Little's in here. Harry Smith's in here. Good evening, everyone. So yeah, we're just talking about guitar solos from songs in movies, and Ben's just been telling us about he's been learning stuff from Cars. Was that the Insta post you did, Ben?
It was.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
I'd sort of learnt the solo mostly by that point.
Yeah.
Thought, wow, there you go.
Why not?
Just some stuff in F.
It sounded good.
It's a wicked little song. It's got that kind of Bryan Adams. It's Only Love.
Yeah. With Tina Turner.
Yeah, with Tina.
I love that song.
Yeah. What album was that?
It was Reckless.
Reckless, that's it.
Yeah.
With something 59 on it and all that.
Yeah.
That's a banger.
It's got that vibe about it. That lead guitar thing that you don't hear so much anymore. Phrasing, big hill bends. How it sounds, not how much you're playing.
There was a song. Now I can't for the life of me remember what the TV show was, but there was a song Axl Rose did he did a track for relatively recently. It was all like cartoon characters and stuff. It's this really cool rock track. It's really useless information because I don't know what it was called, but I think it's always good to hear these kind of things in movies and TV shows. The little things that jump out to you. Do you know what I had to learn this week? I had to learn the solo from Killer Queen by the May solo from that. I had to learn that for a student.
Yeah.
it's really interesting. But I've just always considered Brian May a bit overrated, which I know people will slate me for.
I'm trying to hear it in my mind. Has it got like a big? Is it harmonised? A lot of it.
Yeah. It's hold on, I've got my I can play it. You've got your guitar there, Ben, haven't you?
I do.
It does. He has about 3 harmony tracks on there.
I got my Strat.
Have you? I've got my Les Paul set up here. It's the one that goes.
Oh yeah.
All that stuff. I've never really.
What key is it? Was it in C minor?
Yeah, it's sort of C minor and C major. It's very weird because the first licks are all major, right?
Oh.
Like D minor / C major, and then he suddenly
Oh yeah.
and then he switches to C minor.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
So it's a bit of a weird one.
Yeah, and what we're not going to do is try and put that together now.
No.
Yeah, you play one part and I'll play the harmony.
Yeah. We'll get Will to join in.
Yeah, because your guitar's got to bounce off a satellite before I can hear it, and my guitar's got to be all at and what a mess.
Yeah, it'd be great.
You know what? Actually, if we all, it probably sound like it normally does. Let's be fair.
Yeah, why not? Tony, you're so basically, Tony, if you're listening on a phone, my mic will be quiet because for some reason it's coming in on the left channel, and phones' left channels tend to be a bit quieter. So if you have, I tried to fix it today, but it didn't happen. If you have a laptop or you have speakers or you have headphones, it will fix the problem for you. As for the issue of why Will's picture keeps readjusting size on its own, I have no idea what that is.
It's trying to fit my big face in the screen.
Yeah, I don't. So it's just jumped again now. Are you doing stuff? I don't know why it would do that. Are you doing something on your computer at the same time?
I'm not. No, I'm just stroking my beard with wisdom. That's all I've been doing. And the computer's just like his face is just too.
Ben's isn't
big.
doing it. So I wonder whether I can add a second version of you where that doesn't happen, because it is going to just annoy me consistently trying to.
What? You're going to have 2 wheels?
2 willies.
Do that.
Never a bad thing, is it?
Are we going to have a Tom later?
Yes, we are going to have a Tom. Exactly. We're going to.
Who's Tom?
Tom Rodge from Madhaven.
Oh, the Tom.
Yeah.
Hold on. Will, you're
God.
on. Right, hold on. There we go. Get rid of that echo. I'm going to get rid of this Will. And, oh no, I got rid of the wrong Will. No, I didn't. Get rid of that Will. Then this Will should stop jumping around in size. There we go. Yeah, we're going to have a Tom from Madhaven coming in. So that should work. We should have stopped Will jumping around now. That's quite handy. And
Sorry, folks.
Should be no echo. Okay, so we're going to get Tom on in about half an hour. He's going to come on, chat about some of the stuff he's been up to, because we did that we did that collaboration video with him, didn't we?
Yeah.
And we played a show with him as well.
We did. I want to talk to him about what that was like, because obviously we've known him for a long time. I'm going to bring my mic up. Hopefully that's going to make everything a little bit louder. And I'm going to turn my volume up super loud, and hopefully you can all hear me, because that's looking like it's topping out now on here. So hopefully you guys can hear what's going on. I'm still getting people saying I'm too quiet. And Will's still jumping around. Fuck it, I don't care. So what are we going to talk about today, boys? Apart from guitar noodling.
Was it worst gigs, or did I get the memo?
Worst gigs or
Worst gigs.
No,
We're going to talk about all the venues
that's it.
we've closed and open.
Yes, that was the one.
I suppose if we start, well, it's got to start all the way back at the band's home in Twickenham, isn't it? I think.
Yeah, that was a something.
And we'll radiate out from there.
Yeah.
That dirty little hole.
the filthy hole.
Rock and roll.
Okay,
The filthy
cool.
hole of
Apparently
rock and
my mic's better, so I'm going to keep it here, even though it's we'll go with that. So yeah, I think I realised the other day when we actually started this podcast idea was exactly. So I don't know whether you guys can see on my wall behind me. There's the Intrepid Fox poster up there that Will designed, and that was from the 28th of March, which was the day that we started these podcasts. From 2014, that was when we closed the Intrepid Fox, and I remember thinking back then, well, we should have done this theme. So let's go back to like 2007, 2008. Then Ben, go on about Filthies.
Filthies. The pub where you could do anything. You could live out your rock and roll dreams. It was like we were like, we believed that we were rock stars within like this tiny little community of like 100 people or something. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we could just live out these wild fantasies. They'd like let us climb up at the top to the top of the front of the building and hang a 15-foot across banner that we were playing that night.
I
Stuff like that.
still don't know how that ever got how that went missing. It was massive, and somehow we lost it.
Yeah, we never saw it again.
Was that the Cityscape or was that the big? That's the big monster truck.
The
was
big
it?
monster truck, yeah.
Yeah, oh, sorry, yeah, the monster truck one.
I remember when we got like this 20-foot ladder, and Ben had climbed up the side of the pub, and we'd managed to. I was sort of shouting helpful directions from below, and it was like this enormous sail like hanging from the building, and then somehow not long after that it just went missing because I don't even remember how we got that down in the end, but they just let us do anything at that place. It was insane.
Yeah, we had some real sweaty, loud gigs there. They let us turn up like to max volume and just blast a small audience. Yeah. And I remember one of my old friends from music college turned up once, towards the end of our time there, or the actual time that place was open, and he actually got tinnitus. The poor fella.
Was that Adam?
No, that was James Baker.
Oh yeah.
An old housemate of mine. He actually came away from that gig with actual tinnitus, and I've had to apologise to him multiple times since. I was like, I'm so sorry. It's like my ears are ringing forever. Like, oh, dude. So I think
it wasn't a great big place, and a lot of the other bands that played there would always turn up with like combos and things like that. But we were. At that point, we were carting around full Marshall stacks.
What all the we were a little bit.
We'd rock up with 6 cabs, you know.
I think it's what the kids call extra. We were a little bit extra.
Yeah, everything we did back then was a bit extra. Glittery, shiny shirts and tight leopard print jeans.
Yes, everything was.
Lock-ins.
I just remember
have we got anyone? I wonder if we've got anyone like with us now listening into this that was there back in those days.
Darren and Tony would have seen that. Darren's here. Darren's in the chat. Yeah. There's a few people that might have seen us back in the day. But yeah, I mean, like the thing with that place is like it was just the hub for any band in that area, and I think in a way that we don't really have anything like that anymore in a lot of places. I mean, we'll get on to some of the other places where we had that vibe, but I just remember the New Year's Eve that we played. We just the free party afterwards upstairs when Terry got all of the stock out and just laid it out on the floor and went, "Here you go, lads! Everyone, just have a party." We were there till like 5 a.m.
Yeah.
We just
absolute carnage.
There was a time we'd play there like at least once a week as well. We were just always gigging. Remember just like those nights we'd turn up and St. Jude would be playing and they'd be like, "Oh, do you want to play with us? We're doing a gig." We're like, "Okay, yeah, sure, we'll bring the stuff." And like,
oh, St. Jude.
Yeah.
What a band.
In fact, anybody who is watching this, they're what was the album called? Diary of a Soul Fiend, right?
That's it.
Yeah.
Diary of a Soul Friend. Yeah.
That's on Spotify. So anyone who hasn't listened to them, because they're not together anymore, Lynn still sings. I know she's got her own band now called Jackaman, but go listen to Diary of a Soul Fiend on Spotify by St. Jude. It's unreal.
I'm gonna see if I can get the link and post
That's what I'm doing, yeah.
Yeah. Race to the link.
So, but there was just so many good bands around at that time, and we just kind of gate crashed the entire scene, didn't we? And sort of went, we're here now. We're just gonna play, and then when
I'm not signed in, I can't do
it. Is Will doing it?
I'm on it.
So when because when Filthy's got into a bit of trouble with the way that a lot of pubs did back at that time, which was just the breweries were squeezing on the beer prices, and people couldn't afford to kind of stay in place.
Well, I mean, the place was doing so well.
Yeah.
When we started out there, the place was heaving. Every night we'd go there midweek to go and see a whole bunch of bands you hadn't seen before, and it was always heaving. Do you remember turning up to go and see Holly? It was the first time I'd ever been there.
Yeah.
Holly Hawthorne.
Yeah.
Yeah. And her band were playing, and they were brilliant, actually. She is a really good singer.
Yeah.
Wish everyone from back then got more chance to still play and that the scene was still going. But yeah, it was always heaving. It was always doing really well and selling loads of beer because everyone drank loads that went there.
Even the acoustic nights had loads of people in there.
Yeah.
You know, they do like the open mic nights and stuff on a
Yeah,
Thursday.
the folky bits and that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was just like a scene. I don't know.
But then every time it started doing well, the brewery had put the price up on the beer.
Yeah.
You know?
Just sort of squeezed. They just got a lot of factors came together just to squeeze it all out, really, didn't it? Eventually, and then Tesco's came along and.
But that do you know what? I've never ever set foot in that Tesco's, almost on principle, but I've never been in there.
Yeah.
That's a shame.
Because I just feel like I've done so many bad things in all the different areas of that building that I don't want to see it as like a manager's office. Like, or whatever.
Yeah. Oh, I think it's not late enough to talk about any of that. We're not drunk enough to talk about any of those stories in detail yet.
I realise we're kind of going, oh yeah, you know, we'll do an evening one. I was thinking, it's all bloody recording anyway, isn't it? It's not like people can't just click on it at any time of day or whatever, you know. So
That's true.
I said this wasn't suitable for kids, so you know, fuck it and that. But yeah, that whole when it shut down, and a lot of venues back then kind of went through that squeeze, the similar idea thing. They pushed the prices up on beer and blah blah blah, and so Terry invited us to play the closing night, and it was absolutely heaving. I mean, it could hold about 250 people, but you couldn't move if there was 250 people in there.
What year was this? When did it shut? Was it 2010 or 11? Or?
I think it was 9, and then it reopened again. Yeah. Because we played. I think we played a closing night in like 2009. Then it got taken over by the brewery. Put in 2 Irish guys, and what they did was they just got in touch with all the bands that had already been playing there, and we went back and played there again. And then it got taken over by one of the other guys who'd been around the scene. And now I'm trying to think of his name, but it's completely escaped me. You remember the guy that had the big horn-rimmed black glasses, Ben? He was in... we did an acoustic night in there. You and me got up and did some songs there.
Yeah,
and
I do.
I cannot remember the guy's name. It's right on the tip of my tongue. But he basically reopened it. He was in a band. And then it was sort of Filthies again for a bit, but it got shut down again. And then he had the really good idea of moving it down the road to where the top used to be. And that's like the first story of like the venues we've accidentally shut down. Because he was like...
We turned up and did exactly what we've been doing down the road.
Yeah.
I mean, it was only a mile up the road, this new place, wasn't it?
Yeah, it wasn't far. It was on High Street.
But it was in a much different location. I mean, the original place was like right next to a railway and stuff, wasn't it? It wasn't. It had barriers between it and
but there was a lot of
residential.
Yeah, it was a lot of shops and stuff as well.
Yeah.
And behind it was a hardware store that had like nothing there in the evening. Like you said, the railway line was there, so it was pretty like they weren't bothered at all about how loud anything was.
And the other one had some houses and residential stuff around it. And we barreled down there with a couple of Marshall stacks and an Ampeg bass rig.
Yeah.
And mic the whole lot up.
Yeah. And it got shut down. The police turned up with things.
It got shut down on the first night.
I think one of the barmen said that the bottles were falling off the shelves behind the bar or something.
Yeah, like the stuff was breaking, and there was the people ringing up to complain that they were trying to get their babies to sleep, and we were just like, why the fuck would you buy a house next to a pub anyway if you don't like noise, you know? And that got
reminds me, we got. I'm sure I've seen Drew.
Yeah,
Drew's
in
here.
there. Yeah.
And do you remember that sound check in Cyprus?
Yeah, we set
Where-
one of the amps on fire.
yeah. We actually blew the no, because you were running the bass through the guitar amp, and the guitar amp
Yeah,
blew up.
yeah.
But it smoke started coming out of it just as they were saying. You might be a little bit too loud.
Yeah, it was like perfect timing, wasn't it?
We're standing there like naughty boys, you know, being told to turn down. And then this smoke starts coming up from the guitar. Oh Jesus!
It smelled so bad,
And-
like burning
And
plastic.
sound checking songs that we basically didn't know,
Yeah.
and we thought would be good for later on.
We thought we were gonna practice.
Yeah. So we were just trying to work out these songs as loud as we could.
Yeah.
Oh man, we were talking about Filthies earlier, and I remember the I just was thinking about we could do a whole episode just on shit that happened at Filthies, but I just remember that night because we used to basically if we weren't playing there but we wanted to go out, we'd go down there because there was always something going on and we were always really well looked after in terms of drinks and stuff like that. But I remember I think we'd done like the Filthies all day of the night before, then we'd gone down and we'd gone to the Blues Jam on the Sunday, but then we hijacked the Blues Jam and started playing AC/DC really loudly. And then we'd sort of stayed around there all day drinking. We'd gone off to get some food. And then as we were coming back, someone threw an egg at us out of a car.
I remember that.
And you absolutely head off after them. And you chased this car. But like me and Paddy
The
were
full
sort
length of Twickenham High Street.
yeah, me and Paddy were lumbering after you. Like I don't know whether anyone knows this, but like Ben is like he can burn at 100% for a very short period of time, where his 100% is like unmatchable by humans. And
He can run about 35 miles an hour.
he chased his car. I'm not joking. I was because I was watching this going, he's gonna have to give up in a minute. And before I'd even realised what had happened, Ben had turned around and headed after this car. And he was matching this car for speed down Twickenham High Street.
I was going to have
his spoiler.
spoiler.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was white, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's it. White sports car with a spoiler on it.
Spoiler. And I wanted that spoiler.
And
That was
but
mine.
the thing was, it was like you kept up with him, and then he got stuck at the lights. And as he got stuck in the lights, you sort of gained on him. And me and Paddy were like puffing behind you, trying to catch you up, thinking like, if these guys get out and try and have a fight with Ben, we're not even.
But the
anywhere...
problem is, I'd have had nothing left.
You just breathe heavily on them.
I'd have killed them with carbon dioxide.
I'm going to steam up your windows.
And then when we were like we caught up with you finally because the car had got away at the lights and you'd had to give it in, but you'd done about half a mile at the same speed as the car, and then he'd managed to pull away. Eventually we caught up with you and we started trudging back towards Filthies because we were like still on it for the evening. And you got to the pub and you put your hands on your knees and you just went, I don't feel very well. And you just went, "Bleh." Bleh. And then what happened was this like chicken nugget and chips dinner that you just bought from the kebab shop. It came out like a cat would cough up a hairball. It came out as a patty burger of chicken nuggets and chips in a disc shape, but it was solid. It was the weirdest sick I've ever seen in my life. And then I think Lee was working behind the bar, and he told whoever was on. I think it was
Ken.
Alex. No, who?
It was Ken.
Ken was the one that dealt with it in the end, wasn't it? I think he told Alex to clean it up, and Alex went, I'm not going anywhere near that. It's not in the pub. It's not my responsibility. And then Ken was describe Ken.
Oh, wow. Ken was 5'1". Looked like he was like a mini Santa with no teeth, but real. Was so proud to be a Briton.
Yeah.
Briton.
Oh yeah.
He built motorbikes for all kinds of different motorcycle clubs back in the day, didn't he?
He said he'd like met Sonny Barger from the Angels and
Yeah.
stuff like this. Yeah. He had some
I
stories.
remember he'd turn up at the pub. He turned up and one day his nose was just all flat.
Yeah.
And some kids had like beaten him up on the way there and broken all his nose and everything. And he just sat himself at the bar and just carried on.
He was never angry at anything, was he? He fell out with Mark once. I think that was the angriest I'd ever seen him, where they wouldn't talk to each other. They were like the two mainstays of the bar. They just lived there. I always think of Ken is what. It's like a sliding doors moment. If your life ever went the wrong way, you would be Ken in like 50 years' time.
Oh, me?
Yeah. I just think he's like
he was such a true and honest. What you see is what you get person.
Yeah.
They don't make him like Ken.
He'd always be dancing. He was always on the dance floor. I remember him just like shaking his head, and he'd be like doing sort of air punches and kicking out like it's just dancing away.
Yeah. He loved it, didn't he? He'd be like, do you remember? He'd always come up to you, and be like, "This place keeps me alive." He was always hammered, and he but he
had no teeth. He had to go and buy fish cakes. He was always eating a fish cake. That was him. That was his staple fish cake and some really like soft chips.
And
that's it.
He'd chip in at the pub, like he'd do like some glass collecting and stuff like that. And this particular night, when Alex wouldn't clean your sick up, Ken was like, "Don't worry, Lee, I'll deal with it." And he came outside with this massive bucket of water, and he like threw it at the sick on the floor. And what had been a really neat burger of sick got like diluted. And it got sprayed all up the wall of the pub, all over the windows, and then Lee came out.
It was like all over the doors when people had to go in and everything. It was like completely everywhere.
It was like just add water, and it became real sick. And Lee came out and was just like, "Fucking hell, Ken, what did you do?" And he was like, "Well, no one else wanted to deal with it, did they?" It's like, "You haven't dealt with it, Ken. You've sprayed it all over the pub. It's just covered the walls, the windows, everything."
This kind of thing was just a regular sort of normal night at Phil's.
I remember one night, because they always used to order pizzas, because they do after hours, and whoever was working the bar that night would order pizzas and stuff. I remember one night, I don't know why Ben wasn't there nor you. It was me and Paddy. I think we'd gone out to see another mate. I think it was Tom's band, Tom Tattersall, True Beat, and we were there till like 3 a.m. And then Alex, who was managing that night, he'd ordered a pizza. And as we were leaving, the pizza guy turned up. And as we walked out of the bar, he'd left his moped on the hard standing outside the front of the pavement. And Paddy was hammered. He was absolutely hammered. And he went, we're walking, because we're going to walk home. It was like a 20-minute walk back to my parents' house. And then Paddy walks out, he looks at this bike, he just goes, "No. No." And I went, "Paddy, what?" He goes, "No." And he goes up to the bike and he opens the pannier at the back, and there's like a whole fucking pizza in there, or there might have been 2. And he's just hoiked the bag out the back. I was like, "Paddy, what are you doing?" He was like, "No, I can't leave it. It's free pizza." And he runs off. He runs off, and we end up stood in Twickenham Green, in the middle of Twickenham Green at 3 a.m. It's like pitch black. If you stand in the middle, no one can see you. And we wolfed this pizza between about 4. It was me, Tom, I think Tom's missus at the time, and me and Paddy. And we demolished this pizza, and then we chucked the bag down a side road. Paddy ran off with the bag, because it was one of those like keep me hot bags. He'd nicked the whole lot. He hadn't just took the box, he'd ripped the whole lot out the back, lobbed this bag down a side street, and then we carried on walking home. And then as we're walking back, we hear this like noise. It was like, "Oh Jesus, it's a moped coming." And then this guy pulls up next and goes like, "Why'd you eat the pizza? Why'd you eat the pizza?" And we're going, "What pizza? We haven't got anything." He's like, "I know what you've done. I know what you've done." And it's not like we were particularly inconspicuous, because Paddy had like his flaming red jeans on, like flaming red shirt, his red hair, his arse hanging out while he was trying to run down the road. So we were like, because this guy goes, "I'm going to call the police. I'm going to call the police." And I was like, "Oh, for God's sake, we haven't got anything, right?" And then he calls someone but starts speaking Turkish to them, and I was like, bloody hell, he's not calling the police, is he? We need to like get home. So I took like this diversion home. I said, "Paddy, look, we need to go this way." And we all split up, and I kept Paddy with me. I was like, "We're going back." And then like we hear this moped like buzzing around Twickenham while all the way we're walking home. You can just hear this like trying to like strafing around Twickenham trying to find us. And
Paddy.
we ended up diving in someone's garden and hiding behind a bush because we heard him coming down the road behind us. It was just like the two of us crouched, waiting, trying not to get attacked by this gang of like Turkish pizza men.
Paddy was quite good at getting himself in a bit of trouble for his 5-finger discount ways when he was drunk, where he stole a bag of onions outside a shop in Kilburn or something. And it's massive, like 4 or 5 kilos of onions.
You know what we need to do? We need to do a house parties episode with Paddy and talk about all those things that happened at the house in Dollis Hill. Not Dollis Hill. In Kilburn when he was there.
Kilburn.
Yeah.
Do you remember we'd be on the way home from a gig? It'd be like 3 a.m. or something in the van, and he'd open his bag and just produce like a massive loo roll.
Do you remember?
And he did that to do it.
Do you remember when he stole an entire wheel of cheese from a buffet table? And he just put it in his rucksack. And oh dear. But
I remember there was always those moments where we all just went, "For fuck's sake."
Why have you done this now?
What have we done?
Man. So we could do Filthies.
This is all Filthies era.
Filthies, yeah. That place was unreal, man. Like
What was its real name? It actually had a pub name.
the Red Lion.
Oh, yeah.
The Red Lion, and it was called Filthy McNasties.
At the Red Lion, yeah.
At the Red Lion, and then we just shortened it to Filthies. Yeah, in case people were wondering, like, why is a pub called Filthies?
Well, because it's Filthy McNasties was a joint venture, I think, between Terry and somebody else. Because it started, I think there was a Filthies somewhere in North London, or there might have been one in the States somewhere, but it was all through Terry's connections. And it used to be at another bar in Twickenham. It started out at a bar called the Grand Unions, but before we were together. And it just kept getting busted because it was basically like a massive cocaine den. And it just kept getting raided and shut down. And eventually it moved to the Red Lion, where it became like a bit more, it was all more about the music than anything else. But that had all kind of started down the road. But the thing I always liked about that place was all the memorabilia. You know, if you go to bars and they're like trying to create an atmosphere, and they'll get a drum kit that says the Beatles on it or something like this, or like whatever.
Yeah.
But
there was like shitty guitars on the wall.
Yeah. Or like, let's smash this guitar and put it on. All of the memorabilia around Filthies was real stuff from the bands that founded that scene. They didn't bother with like stuff that was signed by Fate. It was just all stuff that was donated by bands that were actually playing there. And I think that was just such it felt real. The whole thing was real. It was people doing stuff.
It was definitely real.
Didn't the Libertine? I think was it the Libertines that were on that scene?
Mystery Jets.
Ocean
Mystery
Club
Jet
scene turned up one time, didn't they?
Yeah, because Terry knew them. We saw the bass player from the Sex Pistols.
Yeah.
Glenn Matlock.
That's it.
And Chaz and Dave played there.
Chaz and Dave, that's the ones. Yeah.
It was rammed. You couldn't get a ticket. I think they'd sold like 300 tickets or something. You couldn't get 300 people in there.
No.
And Ronnie Wood.
Ronnie Wood.
He was there.
Yeah, because he was friends with Adam from St Jude, wasn't he?
Yeah. Oh, the characters, the people we end up in there. It's an amazing place.
I just really feel bad that nothing ever kind of fully took over what that was. But then I think any band starting out needs something like that. They need something that you can kind of call home to an extent, or you can really learn just how to be a band.
Yeah.
And then we kind of moved into Central. We ended up at the Intrepid Fox. Sorry,
Oh
go on.
yeah, we did.
Go, go,
yeah.
no, go on. What were you
I
gonna
was just gonna add, I think that the filthy sort of tolerated some of our sort of juvenile experiments with the band as well. You know, just like being twats, basically.
Yeah.
They were complete twats, and they just put up with it.
Yeah, and they
Yeah.
used to, we
You
used
know, at least we dragged a few people in. We sold our fair share of beer for them, and that was the deal. You know.
yeah.
We cut our teeth big time, didn't we?
But yeah,
Definitely.
Jamie, you mentioned the Intrepid Fox.
Yes. Well, that
Yes.
in St Giles. Was it St Giles Street? Giles Street.
Yeah, St Giles Street.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was that was like we had two homes. We had there and we had the Big Red, and that was we were playing between. We do 1 week at one, then 2 weeks later the other, then 2 weeks later back at the other one again. And to my knowledge, we were the only band that was allowed to do that because our
Yeah.
crowds didn't suffer.
Yeah.
But the Intrepid Fox was as we were evolving and as the sound of the band was evolving, it was a really like the next really perfect fit. That and the Big Red together.
Oh, you know what? You know you remember Joycey,
Yeah.
who run the Intrepid
Yeah.
Fox? He's doing at the minute. He's uploading every day photos from back in the day.
Oh, is he?
From like back in the day from the Fox.
Oh yeah, I've seen some of those.
377 and stuff like that. And
Amazing.
it's been really good to see those like Fox photos.
Yeah.
I just just to see all those people having a good time again, stuff like that.
That was an amazing moment in time, wasn't it? That was an
That
absolute. It was so good to be involved in that.
I will never forget that loading though. Do you remember the stairwell to get the gear in?
Oh, it was tiny, wasn't it?
I swear
Oh
I've
yeah.
claimed that stairwell for like at least a good half of the damage to my gear. I've made my cabs are smashed to pieces, but I reckon half of it was just because we go there, we get them up all nice, get them on stage, spend all night there, get smashed, and then it was like, oh well, they'll find their own way, you know. And suddenly we're like sliding cabs down the stairs, stuff like that.
Yeah, just like dropping gear down the stairs.
I just said that go now. That's raw. Spain. I just roll that down there. Do you remember your hardware bag? Well, we just drop it.
Yeah, we put it at the top of the stairs and just be like, get the fuck out the way.
I
Bobsled.
remember.
And then we turn up next time and like your hi-hat stands like that.
Yeah, it still is. He hasn't bought a new one.
Say it again.
I had a couple of snare drums go oval shaped.
Oh yeah, when you couldn't. Like, you tried to change the skin and you couldn't get the rim back on. You were like, it's gone oval. It's like a rugby ball.
Yeah.
Or is
I think that was 'cause he got
we
lost.
always used to put it in the van last to keep it safe, but then we'd open the door, it would just fall out and like land on the floor whenever we open the door.
It's been safe and buried under a Marshall head.
Oh man, but we that whole scene at the Fox and the Big Red was as I said, it was like as we were evolving and becoming a bit heavier, we kind of really fitted that scene, and I think it was just like that was like the development of the whole Denmark Street, Tottenham Court Road area, and it got caught up in that, and it was like everyone knew that its days were numbered for quite a long time, and I think we played the last show there, didn't we, as well?
We did.
Yeah.
We shut that down.
We
We
played the
shut that
final
one.
night.
Was that when? Was that the night we got everybody up on stage when we did the Hammered Again video? I can't remember because we
No,
played...
that was a different. Well, I think we were with Ollie by then, weren't we? Because we did our last gig.
yeah.
with
Yeah,
Paddy
you're
at
right.
the
You're
Intrepid
right. Yeah,
Fox.
you're right. You're
When
right.
we
You're
shut
right.
the Fox, we actually shut it with Ollie.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I spoke to Ollie the other day. He wants to come on and do a session with us as well.
Oh, that'd be good. But maybe we could talk about the recording process of the album.
Yeah, good idea.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Or
Some of our little
or when
rituals that we had and the things we ate, the stuff we ate.
Oolong men.
Do you remember we'd just go to Tesco's and go down the weird aisle?
Yeah, oolong men.
Yeah. Oolong men. Shin cut.
Ooh.
I used to live on shin cups and oolong men.
Yeah.
That's so good.
The time when we first
Star
met Ollie,
ramen.
when we first played with Black State Highway, and we walked into the dressing room and just saw him shagging his missus in the corner of the room.
Good times. Good time.
But it was and then this is another trend with us that moved. The Intrepid Fox moved over to Archway in North London and reopened, and there was like a big secret party thing, and the guys had got in touch with us and said, "Can you come and open the place in Archway?" So we went up. It was packed because it was the new night. It was invite only. It was ram solid, and we did a set, and it shut the next day.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a bit of a theme. Love it. Those poor lot. Well, no, I think that it also wasn't really. It just didn't really have the right vibe, did it? I think everyone kind of. I remember it was a different crowd that night. It was Ram, but there's some regulars. But I remember there being like quite a lot of people that we didn't recognise. I think people just didn't want to make the effort to go all the way up to Archway, so it was sort of on its way.
But it actually now you mention it, because the last gig we played, the official last gig there was March 2014, and then it was all about an Easter. It was an Easter resurrection because they reopened about 2 weeks, like, because I don't know when Easter was that year, but it wasn't. They built it as like an Easter resurrection thing. And that's what, because it was only about 2 weeks after it shut, they'd had this other venue secured, and we went and done it like the 2 weeks after that, and then it literally shut the next day.
Crazy. Yeah.
But
I remember it was a funny gig because when I turned up for that gig, we did that gig, and I had a mate turn up from school that I'd gone to primary school with, and he now lives in Japan. Does computers.
What, Simon?
Nah, his name is Paul.
Paul. Oh, right. He just turned up, right? Because Simon came, didn't he? Your mate Simon, but he came with us. He was with you and Suze.
That's right.
Yeah.
But
beautiful.
The only venue I regret not shutting was the Big Red.
Oh, yeah.
Because we never shut that one.
Oh, there was a secret, wasn't there, that we were keeping?
Oh, yeah. We almost shut it.
Yeah. With Airborne.
We almost shut the Big Red Airborne.
That was the plan.
Close.
Yeah.
You know what? That's another one we could have talked about the other week where we were so close to something. So amazing.
Yeah, that was going to be awesome.
Yeah.
But
imagine Airborne, supporting Airborne in the Big Red and just smashing that place, because Ben was like, well, that's it. It's going to be all out. That's what the chap that was running it, everybody. He just wanted to have an all-out party. He was like, "That's it. We're closing it. Let's just do it. Let's just absolutely smash it." He's like talking. They were in talks with a band like Airborne to get the night locked down. But what happened with that, Jamie? Because you're the one I think you were mostly. Well,
no, because we were gonna. Well, I think the issue was. I've got another one here. Did we shut the Zeppelin shelter, and did we shut the Manor Club? I don't think we shut the Zeppelin shelter. We did play there. But I don't think we shut it. And the Merton Manor Club, Gav said, I think that might be a good shout. I can't remember if we were the last band to play there or not.
Were we the last band?
I think we were, you know.
I think we were. I think we did shut that one.
I've got a feeling.
Yeah.
Was that from noise complaints? Was that just
no? They
on
were
its way
shutting
out?
down anyway. But I think we played the last night there. But the Airborne thing, I think what it was that the logistics just didn't line up. They couldn't quite get over. I think the actual very last night we were playing somewhere else. For the life of me, I can't remember where it was, but we couldn't.
The Underworld.
It was the Underworld.
No, and then he ended up shutting early as well. There was another. It ended up shutting actually before that show because Ben was at the Underworld that night.
Yes, it was gonna be the night of the Underworld though.
Ah.
It was gonna shut that night. And we were going to pack up the gear.
That was it.
Yes, that's it.
Yes, that was right.
And that was the plan. And that was the plan right up to about a week to go.
Yeah, you're right. That was the thing.
And then it fell through.
Because I'd rung Paddy and said, right, change of plan. We're gonna pack up at the Underworld.
And we're going to destroy
and we're going to go and close the Big Red.
One.
Yeah, that was it. We were going to hop for it to there, but he ended up, Ben ended up shutting it down early. Or giving the key, I can't remember what the situation was. Steve Little played the Zeppelin shelter the week before it was shut down. So Steve, you shut the Zeppelin shelter. If anyone wants to join in with any venues they've shut down through their own either noise, stupidity, nudity, I don't know. But yeah, so those.
Oh, nothing.
So, what?
Talking talking about nudity, do you remember? Sorry, just going back to Filthies, just quickly. What was the name of that band where they had a bloke who got completely naked and was whacking a beer barrel with a baseball bat?
Right. So the band was called Kid Champion. The band was called Kid Champion, and the guy.
Champion, that was it.
The guy was called John Malone, and he was the captain of the rugby team in my year at school.
I just remember this naked bloke with his bits flopping about, he's leaping around, just smacking a beer barrel with a bat.
That was so weird. It was crazy.
That was a weird moment.
Yeah, I knew him for years.
Sorry,
John, and he ended up. I remember one night I went to cinema with my dad, and I walked in, and John was working at the cinema. He was like, "It's all right, this one's on me. You have free tickets." So he just gave me free tickets to the cinema. He was a really nice bloke.
Sorry, just to rewind, but yeah, go back to where we were.
that was hilarious. Fast forward
a few years.
I'm gonna try and get Tom Rodge on for a bit because I want to talk to him, and then we can always, if you guys like these kind of stories and like the more kind of in-depth reminiscing about stuff, then we can always we can do a little poll, see what you want to talk about. We can do more of this kind of thing. Obviously, these themes are really, really loose. There's nothing particularly well planned. We just get together and chat shit, and it all ends up happening. So I'm going to see if I can patch Tom in now, which if I'm anywhere near the level of professionalism that I'd like to think I am, it will happen shortly. And we're going to chat to him. So I know he's got stuff that he wants to talk about.
Oh, hello, Paul True.
Paul True, yeah.
Right, see if we can get...
what a story.
What, for Paul True?
Yeah, unfortunately, the missus is just going to have to take one for the team there.
Go on, what's that? I didn't read that, sorry.
Don't bring anything nice to one of our gigs, I'm afraid.
Camden was awesome. When I took the missus, you managed to squirt Jaeger into my mouth from some distance. Great shot, but you'll also cover my missus too bam back in it.
And Gavin Archer's got something for us. Talking of nudity, remember when Paddy was getting out the pool in the Athena Hotel in Lindos, bollock naked, walking to the bar and carrying on drinking.
And the barman picked up the phone and threatened to phone the police if he didn't put his clothes on in 1 minute.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think didn't you both just take?
Back in 2 seconds.
No worries. I'm trying to call Tom, but he's not answering at the moment. We'll get Tom on. I know there's some other stuff going on Planet Internet this evening, and it's Good Friday and everything. So everyone hopefully is going to have an amazing weekend. Yeah, that man Rhodes was something else, wasn't it? Like
that was mental.
That could be a bloody podcast in itself, just talking about Rhodes. Rhodes Rock 2013.
That was ultimately messy. I think we were at maximum. We were just at full tilt that entire time.
Yeah.
Full drive mode.
Because we felt like we had a point to prove, didn't we? At that point, we felt like we had we felt like we'd been booked for a reason, and that we had to. That actually, Paul, that was where the Jaeger pistol thing I think started, because we hosted a boat party, didn't we? And we had jousting on the inflatable dragons with the noodles, and Jaeger pistols for like fights.
Yeah. And then we took that to the Big Red and put Jaeger in like big super soakers.
Yeah, sorry about that. I actually.
Do you remember?
Go on.
So I was going to say also at Rhodes. I remember the lightsaber piss fights.
Lightsaber. Oh God, yeah. Yeah. Well, Ben's not here. Yeah.
No. Oh.
But yeah, what was really disturbing about that? Sorry, guys. Tom isn't available, but I'm still trying him here. The lightsaber piss fights. I mean, it is what it sounds like. It was literally. It was literally. Oh, hold on. So Tom is having trouble joining in. He's pressing join, but it's not working. Was literally what it sounds like. You got your knobs out, and you were pissing on each other and having a sword fight with the Wii.
And making all the sounds.
Yeah.
And just weeing all over each other, basically. I remember in the morning waking up and I had to take my phone apart and basically drain it. and leave it to dry in the sun before.
But
it
hadn't you also...
Is this the lightsaber duel that I'm part in?
Yes, this is it.
Yes,
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm just driving back and I'm trying to ascertain where we are.
Well, I mean,
Yeah,
I
you're
mean,
absolutely right.
there was so many of those instances. Who knows which one we're talking about?
I would estimate it was like 2 a.m.
Yeah.
up some like country lane type road on the way back to the park, and we did that, and then we decided we should probably go drinking more.
Yeah.
And I just remember standing next to
Gaz from Stonewire.
Gaz from Stonewire, and he said to me, "Mate, you stink of piss." Weren't my piss.
No. But didn't Will dry out over there? Because he woke up in the morning. You came down to breakfast or whatever, and he was wearing the same shorts. And you went, "Will, are those the shorts you were wearing last night when we pissed on each other?" And he went, "Yeah."
Yeah.
I think I lack a wardrobe.
It was really...
I just get beers. I'll be back.
All right, cool. I can't patch Tom in. For some reason, it's not letting him connect to the call. So what I've said to him is we'll get him on first thing next time so we can do that. And I'm really sorry about that because I know I said we'd get him on. I also want to get... So Noelsy's here. Noelsy's in the chat. I don't think Bar Red was ready when you nutcases turned up walking across the bar and tables while people were having drinks. Yeah, sorry about that.
Yeah.
We should get Nosey on one week, maybe next week as well, and just
chat
about, because he's got... Oh, that was what I was going to say. He's got a new project, like big, heavy Southern country rock band, and
yes,
it's really, really good. So I want to get some... I want to play a clip of that to some people to hear it and see what's going on. He can talk about that because it's good to have stuff lined up when all this is finished. There's going to be bands that want to get out and play, obviously. So they're just starting out. They haven't gigged yet, I don't think. So, or they might have done one or two. But yeah. So we're gonna do that. David Oram, Funnel of Doom. Yes, that started at Legends. We talked about this the other week. It started in Legends 2013. That was where we were introduced to the concept of the Funnel of Doom. But yeah, the stuff that happened in Rhodes with the weeing was like on another level. I don't know where that all came from, why that was a thing.
This.
How civilized.
Like we were about 4 or 5 days in, and I think we had only slept one of those nights or something.
Yeah, it wasn't good.
It was rough. I remember turning up in Rhodes, and I got off the coach, and I vomited, and my nose bled horrendously.
Yeah.
And I was just outside the park, just leaking from everywhere. And then I went and had a sleep for about 4 hours, and I was fine, and we were on stage that night.
Do you remember? No, yeah. Do you remember we'd got that? Hold on, Poppy Holton. 2013 was my introduction to you lot and the whole rock thing. Not looked back since. Well, we are more than glad to have been of assistance in aiding your discovery of our wonderful... I call it art form. I don't mean... it's not really an art form. It's debauchery and guitars. That's what we do.
It's just loud.
Just loud, yeah.
It's nothing clever.
So, well, I mean, you know... Beauty and cleverness is in the eye of the beholder, really, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Will's back. He's got beer. But the things in Rhodes, we just kind of like tried to live up to our own hype of ourselves, and it just didn't. We just weren't good. It wasn't good. There were so many things that happened there. Cheers. What's Will got?
Cheers, peeps.
Tap it.
I've got Argus.
Argus.
Lucky bastard.
Mate, it's not glamorous, this stuff. This is the last of it. This is the last of my supplies. I got this is for a pack of 12. It's about €4.
That's all right.
Oh, is that what you were talking to Marta about earlier?
This is red.
Yeah.
This is from Christmas. I think this is I can't remember which bottle's which anymore, but I taught a guy today, really nice guy called Alan from Codnam.
Good old Alan.
He buys me a bottle of red wine at Christmas each year. And it's lucky he does, because at a time like this, when I haven't got any beer, the red wine cracks out.
Nice.
Yeah, red wine's all right. Just get nice blue teeth.
Oh, I'm blue. And the rest. Tomorrow. Wow.
I remember the first time I had a proper red wine hangover was after a night drinking with Steve Goldby and Ben. And we used to go to the shop opposite Steve Goldby's flat and just get absolutely trolleyed. That was our business meetings.
Get me some wine.
Whoa!
Oh, I remember fortified wine. Roll me a spliff and get me wine.
What a guy. Do you know what? I know there's a story there with Steve, but I think we'll let it lie.
Yeah. No, I do.
Yeah.
It doesn't. Nothing.
Steve was always great company, and I still miss those days and hanging out. You know, it was great fun.
Yeah.
It was.
Yeah. I mean, it was just, again, like, you can't. I don't really look back now on anything kind of too bitterly about anything that's happened. It's all just experience, isn't it?
It's all part of the journey, and it's all an adventure, isn't it?
Yeah. You can't. We've had an absolute rip roaring ride through whatever we've done. We've always just kind of, as long as you attack everything with gusto and just go for it, you know, you can look back and you always get another chance at stuff. We've never really completely blown it at any point. We're still here, you know.
Yeah.
In some capacity, we're always still we're like the cockroach.
But this year, I've seen so many bands from our scene thrown in the towel.
Mm-hmm.
So many.
Yeah.
Oh, can we just give a shout out to Stonewire? We're going to miss Stonewire.
Yeah.
We go back a long way with those guys and
we
girl.
did a whole UK tour with Stonewire.
Yeah.
And they're nice guys.
We only spoke about one thing for the whole time we were away, didn't we? Though, and Sky got a bit wound up with it. So everything.
Well, the thing is, we have to check in with each other and make sure that we're healthy boys.
Yes, we do. And you know,
what were we doing?
Just talking about poo.
Oh.
And the thing is, we have to share a dressing room most nights, and you like shit with the door open.
Well done.
Me.
Yeah.
And have a chat. Yeah. Like, when you poo, you have a chat with us. You sit there, the open, and we just all have a chat, and we're all used to it. And I remember Scott, because you were sat there. It was the Robin 2.
Yeah.
Backstage, Robin 2, up in some little room, and you were pooing, and I was sitting there eating a sandwich, talking to you, and she walked in and saw that you were. I was just horrified that happened.
She was speechless. I remember she was genuinely speechless. She just that look she just gave us. She was like, "You."
It become normal because you
just walked out.
Wherever we go, you know, it can happen.
Oh, yeah.
Liz, the reason we were paranoid about crashing out at parties was because you told us you used to set your friends on fire if they crashed out at your parties. I mean, let's put it in some sort of context, shall we?
I actually slept outside of Lizzie's house in the van.
Yes. We all did. We turned it into a mobile hotel.
Yeah. And I remember, because of Lizzie's house party, I spent that night with voices in my head talking to me.
That was just before. So that was just before you moved out of Fulham, Liz. Before you moved down the road from where I live now, and yeah, that was one of your last house parties in Fulham, I believe. That was a good night.
That was gnarly.
I mean, we're now. I know I don't care. This is just fun. I think we should just carry on chatting for a bit because everyone's having a drink and having fun. I think everyone's looking forward to just getting back to going out, Paul. To be honest, mate, in the chat, Paul, true there. I think like everyone wants to. It's just getting. I just miss interacting with more people now. It's a thing that I don't mind the working from home. I don't mind all of that stuff, but the lack of interaction is starting to get a bit difficult. Like, it just
Yeah.
I miss just being able to go out and chat with people.
I don't.
You're all the.
Yeah.
You and your household are all the company you need, isn't that right, Ben?
Well, and a bit of you guys from time to time.
Everyone needs a
I've got a few sort of like mates, you know, non-music mates.
yeah.
I like to keep
my
my
goodness.
circle small. I'm writing a song about that at the moment. Keeping it small, keeping it compact. I think everyone's circle is just too big at the moment.
Well,
You know, they've got all these people on Facebook and they're keeping an eye on what they're doing and that. And to be honest, if we had like a little village, you'd have like 30 people in it.
Be quite
You don't
difficult
need-
to
Don't be more than like 30 people in your village.
no, but it's,
If you're keeping an eye on more people than that, you're going to get ill.
it's quite difficult to form bands from 30 people in a village, though. To be fair.
True.
That's what
Ben's got the. Have you seen Will? Ben's got the like the tinge on his cheeks. That's just like he's starting to rage.
That's the telltale sign. If Ben,
The rage is coming.
yeah, but if Ben starts to get that pink tinge in his cheeks, you know that some rants are on the way. Absolute horrendous stuff.
I looked it up. It's because I've knackered one of my enzymes or something. Yeah. And apparently, if you keep going, you can end up with it sort of like for a while. But I have been out in the sun the last couple of days, and my shoulders are sunburnt.
Oh yeah, I hear it's been
I'm gonna
glorious.
throw that in the, you know, just say, oh, my face could be a little bit sunburnt and that. But unfortunately, everyone was here at the beginning of the video, and when I was paler.
Yeah, you
talking
can't
of-
get away with it on this one.
Talking
Nah.
of sunburn, do you remember when the year after Rhodes Rock stopped and Eddie moved it to Benalmádena and near Malaga that first year, and
God.
Ben bought himself a dinghy, and he spent every single day on the sea paddling around in a dinghy. You were like Tom Hanks's character in Castaway.
I was so happy.
You couldn't get him out of it.
You know, when you're a kid, I had a rubber dinghy as a kid. I was really lucky. My mum and dad bought me a rubber dinghy, and I loved it. I was always in my rubber every holiday.
Hang on,
The
where?
same rubber
Oh,
dinghy
right, okay.
came out, I'd blow it up, and I'd row. And I was in Spain. We were doing the Spain Legends of Rock thing, and I saw this rubber dinghy, and I thought, you know, I'm going to buy it. I'm having it. I said,
Nostalgia.
help me carry this dinghy. I didn't have a pump, so I got the shop to blow it up. So we had to like carry it down the street.
But you did it every
I
day.
was like, Ollie, we're going to sea.
You went every day. You spent
Yeah.
hours out there.
He'd go to Del Boy's Caf, or was it Del Boy's or something like that? And
No,
then he'd have
uh,
an English breakfast or a roast dinner or
Jolly
something.
Roger.
All right, Jolly Roger.
Yeah. Do you remember the
And
Wigan,
he'd go there, they'd go dinghying.
the Wigan bar where no one could agree what they were going to eat? I remember Sophie at the time was furious with her cheese baguette because it had like English cheese in it, and she was like, "Oh, at least the one had got some like European cheese in my cheese baguette." And we. Oh my!
That was an interesting one. I remember that Chinese restaurant. There was like a dirty old. There's a dirty Chinese restaurant there, wasn't there? That we all used to eat at. But I remember I went on that trip and I was a bit ill, but I was like suppressing it. I kept taking Imodium because I when I got there, I started breaking out into massive sweats. I remember arriving with the suitcases with everybody, and I was like, something's up with me. I was sweating profusely. I felt pale. I was shaky. So I spent the entire festival just drinking Red Bull, eating Imodium because I had the shits as well. And I was just like, so I was stuffing myself with Imodium, paracetamol, and drinking Red Bull. And we got through the whole thing. And I came back to England and I'd stopped that diet of pills and Red Bull and beer and vodka and whatever else. And I just crashed and my body went. I was waking up in cold sweats in the night. I was really, really bad. And I went and got a blood test, and they said that I had salmonella for a long time. I had really bad salmonella.
do you remember getting ready to go out in the apartment? Because we'd fucked up with the booking because I hadn't mentioned some key facts to Eddie about how many people were traveling, and then we had to book a separate apartment, and you, me, Lydia, and Sophie stayed in the apartment, and then Ollie, Ben, Suze, and Lucille stayed in the hotel, and. I remember you getting ready. You were like dancing around the apartment in your pants. You had your "I'm ready to party. I'm ready to party." That was your getting ready song. And then there was the night, because apparently I didn't see Ben's hotel room, but I think Ollie said our hotel room looks like the beach because Ben had just dragged his dinghy back there every day, and he'd brought like
there was so much sand in there.
Oh, my brother says in it, and the black absinthe.
I remember the black absinthe.
Yeah, with like skull and crossbones on it.
Yeah.
Gavin Archer, the blow-up sumo wrestlers, ha ha.
Oh yeah, that was amazing.
I remember putting that suit on, right? And you were in one, Will. But because I'm a bit shorter, I couldn't lift the suit off the ground. The suit dragged on the ground, right? So someone said go, and I'm stood there trying to figure out how to get me on. Will parallel rugby tackles me. And we go back. We go back and we just wipe out like loads of tables and chairs. People go flying. Because I didn't even. Will must have been expecting me to at least brace.
Yeah.
Like. My arms out of this thing, and I've gone back and just totaled me, and the chairs and everyone and everything.
Then Martin Smart wanted to get involved with the sumo wrestling match with Will.
He had my suit off of me. He's a bit taller than me, a little bit.
Will just monstered him every time. It was hilarious.
I remember he ran at me. He was like, "Come on, drummer boy!" and like, ran at me. I think I lifted him off the ground and shoved him into the floor. He went, "Oh fuck!"
Because he's a rugby lad as well, isn't he? And it, like you got a history in the oval ball game, William.
Oval arts.
The oval arts.
Yeah, I do.
Ethics have seen your
the wrath.
Oh, they've seen my rage. But I remember like I think the third contestant that stepped up to the plate after Martin was sent packing was Paul Carnevale.
Did it? Oh yeah.
And that man is he's a solid man.
Did you not?
I love that man.
Did you wrestle him to a standstill?
I wrestled him to a standstill, but because we're both drummers, basically two upper body sort of drummers just leant against each other, going, "Argh!" And I couldn't handle him anymore. And I just went, fuck it. So I just relaxed my body a bit, and he just took me out completely. I was like, Carnevale, you bastard.
Did you know?
He's strong, that man.
Carnevale is involved at the Legends 10th anniversary party next year.
Yeah.
Oh, what's up?
Yeah. So for anyone looking at booking the free day, the extra, the Wednesday, the Legends All Stars on the Wednesday, there will be some Paul Carnevale action.
That man is the only person who I've ever let dep for me in 4-wheel drive.
That's true, actually.
Yeah.
He's the only man, because he's incredible. I love his drumming, and I was a bit worried that he might steal my gig.
That was the day when Ben had this genius plan. We were playing 2 gigs in one day, and Ben's plan was, it was like, right, lads, I've figured it out, right? What we do is we turn up, we do a gig, and we get fucking pissed. And then what happens is I'll go and sleep in the van because I've got 12 hours before the next gig, and that's like a sleep, isn't it? So then we'll play the other gig, and then I'll drive home from Manchester because I'll have had a sleep. And that was his grand plan.
How did it work out?
Well, the first bit worked out. We got pissed. The second bit didn't work out because he didn't recover. He didn't sleep. So we did the second gig and Ben was just like smashed. Then him and Ollie slept in a hotel, and I got a lift back with Howie, who was driving Paul, to Crewe, and we stayed we stayed at Lydia's parents' house in Crewe that night. And then they met us for Sunday carvery the next day, after they'd had to walk for 2 hours to find the van. Because they'd forgotten where they'd parked it or how far away it was.
Genius.
Sally
Married.
Marsden.
What's Sally saying?
Oh yeah, shout out to Sally.
You were such an angel. Oh, Sally, do you still get... Now, just leave it, lads. Let's let Sally answer. Sally, do you still get the large bottles of ketchup? Just answer that. Do you still get those large bottles of ketchup?
And do you still always buy 2 of everything?
Oh,
It's going back to the story we were doing.
should we explain
Yeah.
to the good people that Sally Marsden is a lovely lady who let us stay in her wonderful house in Weymouth whenever we played shows there.
Yeah.
And she was our Weymouth mum. She looked after us. She cooked meals for us, and she's such a sweetie.
Kept us alive.
Yeah.
Kept us alive. Yeah,
And
that's what bands need.
but it was the fact we hardly, like, from the first time we hardly knew her at all, and we were just like, yeah, come in, stay at my house, blah, blah. She's so friendly. On the very first, she's laughing now. The first time we stayed at yours, Sally, we were coming back the next day in the van, and Paddy opened his rucksack. So we've spoken about Paddy's magic bag earlier on. Now Paddy's magic bag, there was nothing you couldn't fit in Paddy's magic bag. It was a German army surplus rucksack.
I think we managed to stop him, did we?
No, I think he
Was
didn't
that
tell
one
us. No,
occasion?
yeah, I think that might have been something else. But he didn't tell us. It was when we were on the way home. He opened his bag, and inside it was a packet of tortilla wraps, a bottle of ketchup, something else. And we said, Paddy, what on earth is that? And we said, did you just take that from Sally's house? She fed us, she put us up, and you've gone raiding her fridge at night, and you've stolen a ketchup and a packet of wraps. And he goes, well, no, I was drunk. And I went, no, Paddy, you can't just, the I was drunk excuse doesn't work. He goes, well, I only took something if she had 2 of it. So I didn't. And we were like, Paddy, that doesn't mean you can just take things because people have 2 of them. And he was like, well, no, come on now. I haven't hurt anybody, have I? And I was like, Paddy, man, she's given us somewhere to stay. And you've just like raided her fridge and put it in your bag. It's not like she didn't feed us. And we want to go back there and stay there again, which we did, thankfully. And we expressly told Paddy not to steal anything.
We
Well,
searched him
come
for
on.
the way out, I believe.
Didn't Paddy like say? I think he said, "I'm so sorry, Sally. I may have pinched a couple of things." I think we got so cross with him, we forced him to admit it. I can't remember the details, but I think so. We didn't let that lie.
No, that was because you don't shit on your own doorstep with things like that, do you?
Well, we are now, but you know.
Sorry, Sally. We kept that from you for about 10 years. But yeah, that happened. Oh, and Paddy I remember the Boom Boom Club. Paddy just used to go through the football club's freezer. I remember he came out of there one night with about 20 packets of fish fingers and about 5 loaves of bread.
And that all came out of his army surplus bag in the van.
Yeah. And then
Just pulling out fish fingers.
How did we work out that if you threw the knives at the wall, they stuck in the wall?
Yeah. That's the reason we never played at the Boom Boom Club.
Knife throwing.
that, and we got in an altercation with
Dirty DC.
Dirty DC because we had to share the dressing room with them. And when the gig finished and we wanted to get all our shit out of there, I was like, "Oh no, boys, you can't go in there now because they're getting changed."
Yeah, you
What?
didn't take very
Oh
kindly.
no, they're having their after gig time and all that. But hang on a minute, we're all lads. You're only in your pants. Calm down.
You're not actually.
Yeah,
Silly.
I think we had our stuff
We've
in
been
there.
through school. We've all been through the showers. Calm down, you big boys. We're just coming in to get the coats, get the bags, and then we're going.
I don't think you put it that eloquently at the time.
No.
I think you might have had pink cheeks at the time.
Yeah, the rage.
I had pink cheeks. God,
The rage.
What are you supposed to do? Just stand there, wait until they're done doing whatever.
Oh man.
We can go home.
Do you know what? Do you know what? I think we need to do more of these evening ones, I think, and just like we just need to just pick up where I don't want to kind of go on massively too long because I think it's a lot for people to kind of sit and watch, and there's other stuff going on. But I
We
think
ain't lost anyone yet.
have we not? Is everyone still in there?
Yeah.
Give us a shout in the chat if you want us to carry on a little bit. But I mean, with these stories, we could just, I mean, sod coming up with themes. We'll just keep picking up these stories because there's so many things.
If we come up with a theme, we don't necessarily have to talk about that theme, do we?
In fact, we've hardly spoken about the theme at all.
I think we sort of touched upon it and then we shot off.
Filthy Fox, Big Red.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, we did do all that.
Boom Boom Club.
Boom Boom Club was, oh man, that was funny, and we did.
The days.
That was there's just some weird places we've not. I think at some point the Cambridge Rock story needs to come out. Because we haven't ever, I don't think anyone knows the Cambridge Rock story apart from about 5 people.
That's a slightly different theme. I think that theme is more like places, events that we've got banned from.
Yeah.
And then we could maybe do a vote to see if people think that was just
was it
unjust.
bannable? Yeah, was it a bannable offence?
Yeah, we'll tell the story, and then the crowd can say whether they believe. We'll take a vote whether it's just or unjust.
Yeah,
I think it was probably mostly justified.
Tony in the chat saying Germany tours. I think we have to do one on Germany tours as well.
Yeah, that would be good.
And get Paddy back.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, that is a box of crazy. A box of crazy. That's amazing. Yeah. Oh God! Just you know what? If someone just says trigger words like that, my brain starts spinning off into all the different dark corners of Europe or Germany that we went to, and all the stories that came with it. Jesus!
It's like post-traumatic stress. You want to just hide you want to dig an air raid shelter in your garden and jump in it.
Yeah. Start developing a twitch again that you've managed to got rid of.
Wales. Oh God! Somebody mentioned Wales. Why?
Yeah, I thought that when Tom Rogg was going to come on, I thought we might touch upon.
Oh God!
We need to get
Curry
Tom on.
House
So
in Wales.
next time we'll do the Curry House in Wales next time because we'll get Tom on and we'll have him on from the beginning.
He might have played there
Darren.
properly.
Yeah, you might well have done. Darren, keep going for fuck's sake. There's only repeats on telly. Want to see Ben go full red face?
You don't want to see Ben go full red face. We'll have to delete this off YouTube afterwards.
Oh my God! Do you remember some of the? The van journeys home with Ben in a wreck? I remember the first time Ben decided to expose himself during a drive home. Do you remember we played at the Metal Detector convention somewhere?
Oh,
another episode is World's Weirdest Gigs. So that one comes up near the top. We played a Metal Detectors convention. But it was European or worldwide?
But it was sort of like a motorcycle rally, but with metal detectors instead of bikes.
Yeah. And like little stall set up where you could buy the
Roman coins.
Out the ground half an hour previous.
And we'd finished the gig. We'll talk about that more in detail. But we finished the gig, and my dad was driving us home, I think. And Ben used this thing. He'd always need to go to the toilet before he left, and he'd been to the toilet. Comes back in the van. We start driving across this field in the middle of the night. It's pitch black, and then Ben just goes, "No, I need to piss. I need to piss again." And we're like, "Ben, you just went," and you went, "Don't care. I need to go." So you got out, and then what he did was he'd gone for a piss, and then we were sat in the van with the engine ticking, and then he came bunny hopping Basil 40 bunny hop style with his trousers round his ankles across the lights of the van like this, and then he decided he was gonna like wipe his knob on the windscreen, so he jumped up on the bonnet of the van, like crawled his way up to the windscreen, fell off and landed on his ankle and twisted his ankle. Do
you remember the time that we got back to after a gig and your dad was driving the van, Jamie, and we got back to, was it Hounslow Central?
No,
and Ben was completely naked in the high street.
Yeah, He's gone.
And your dad was just going, Ben, get back in the van now. Now. It's dangerous.
It was
What the hell
Weymouth.
were
We
we on?
played at I think it was Quayside Festival. We played at in Weymouth that Danny had put on. And on the way home, Ben, because he'd given us like a crate of beer, and sorry, Paul, that's far too on topic. What's the story behind the name change? We're talking about nudity. We'll come back to that in a minute. And Ben's like, Danny had given us this crate of beer, and Ben's like necking the beer, and then he was like, he just sat there and goes, lads, I'm hot. I'm fucking hot. You don't mind if I take my clothes off, do you? And then he was between you and Paddy, and he just started taking all of his clothes, and everything came off, and he was just sat there like this, completely bollock naked, but he'd put his boots back on for some really weird reason that I don't understand. And then when we used to drop Paddy in Hounslow because you could get the night bus all the way back to North London where he was living. And so we get to Hounslow High Street, and Paddy's having trouble opening the back to get his stuff out. And Ben goes, I'll go. He gets out, and my dad's going, Ben, get the fuck back in the car now. And Ben's walking around with his boots on, but no clothes, just walking around Hounslow High Street at like 2 a.m. And my dad's going, Ben, he gets fucking killed. Get back in the car. And he gets back in. And as we pull up at the house, he's still not put his clothes on. But as we pulled up at mine, he goes, right, I'm going to go to the house. Debbie won't mind if I turn up like this. And he's got his boots on, nothing else. And my dad just goes, Ben, now I'm being serious. Put your fucking clothes on before you ring the doorbell.
I'm being serious because he never swore at any of us.
Yeah, possibly true.
And then that was, I was like, oh, and in my messed up state, I realised I needed shelter.
No, I do remember one time he swore at us directly, and it was the hotel room in Wales.
Holy shit.
He walked in on a scene that I think he won't be able to ever unsee.
It was a scene of a Roman orgy. It was the weirdest thing that I've ever seen. And oh my god, it was. I don't even know if I want to talk about it. It was horrendous. But he lost it. He's literally like, "What the fuck are you doing in here?"
Yeah, we destroyed the noise. That. I mean, I don't know if we should even talk about that.
No.
Someone might have got billed for that.
No. Oh my god! Why was none of this on the video blogs you used to do?
When you're like early 20s, there's just no consequences.
No, well, there are.
You're going
but you
home.
Don't care
yeah,
about
but you're
them.
gone. You feel like you're just in there and gone, and that it doesn't matter. You can you'll be gone, and it's too much bother for anyone to worry about it, and it kind of all spirals, doesn't it? You get that pack mentality, and you just end up.
Darren wants to know. It's awful, Darren. It's really awful.
We've got Tony Will running naked around a hostel on the German border.
Oh yeah,
we put that on a vlog. We invented vlogging before vlogging was a thing. I am going to claim that one.
We did.
Yeah, we did the tour diaries thing before it was a really
tour diaries. What was that? 2012?
No, but it started way before that. 2009-10 it started. Maybe 2010 actually.
Yeah.
2010.
We were vlogging
every day when we would go away. And
every day, yeah, we'd film our antics and put together videos, upload them to YouTube. But that was when no one gave a shit.
Yeah, they get like 20 views.
Yeah. Well, these days we'd probably be doing all right, but we decided to stop that just as it got popular. Everyone's doing it now. Let's stop.
I can't see a future in this. What?
I watched through some of those the other day. There's some awesome live footage.
Yeah, there were some killer places. What do you mean were?
Well, I was watching myself play some stuff, and I was thinking, I can't remember how to play that. I'd have to work it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, some licks, boy.
To come back to Paul's question quickly, Paul. The reason we changed our name was we'd been doing the 4-wheel drive thing for a long time, and we were looking to try and sort of get to the next level. And we'd been kind of, I won't say treading water, but we we'd hit a point where we felt like we couldn't go
Hit a
much
ceiling.
further. A ceiling, yeah. And a couple of people who were keeping an eye on what we were doing had said, look, I think you can revamp. I think you can regenerate what you're doing. Change your name to something that's a bit more international. I think the word was international. It didn't have so much of a ceiling and doesn't cap it at, some people's opinion was that Four Wheel Drive was a kind of American bar band type name. You can kind of see where they're coming from, but and he said rethink it, revamp it, make a new record, get with a producer. And so it all came from a bunch of people that were within the industry that kind of wanted to see what we could do if we did that. And I just think that it's not even about that, because I always used to argue with people that any band name is shit if you don't know who the band is. Like the Foo Fighters, it's a shit band name. But it's not.
Smashing Pumpkins.
Yeah, the Red Hot Chili Peppers. I mean, any band name is shit if you
Guns and Roses.
Yeah, if you dissociate it from the music, it means nothing. So it's like any band name.
Quo.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, boring.
Might as well have just left it. And you know what? All those people that pushed us to do that, we had a whole team around us, and chucked it all in before we'd even released the album.
Well, yeah, I mean, admittedly, I called a load of them names by mistake, which
True.
Yeah. But also, I think that to be fair though, we also had a lot of people. I remember there were a lot of voices, a lot of people, even outside that small circle, saying the band name's crap.
Yeah.
We don't like the band name. It's too descriptive. It's too much something. Four Wheel Drive is already a thing. Too much of a thing. You need something a bit more. What's the word?
mysterious.
Yeah. Something that people
enigmatic.
Something that where people can add their own meaning to it.
Yeah.
So we kind of had all this in the ear a lot, and we started to believe it ourselves, and we got self-conscious about it. I got a bit self-conscious about saying, "Oh, my band's called Four Wheel Drive. I know it's shit." You start making excuses about it, and eventually we all felt a bit self-conscious about it. All these people were saying, "Change it to something else," and we just went, "Do you know what? Fine. Yeah, all right. We'll take your advice, and we'll also go with everyone else's opinion that it's rubbish, and we'll change it. We'll come up with something a bit different." And to be fair, it kind of unlocked actually exactly what people said. It took that lid off a little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit, and we got a record deal after that, and we did have a team around us.
I think the
but yeah, they all jacked it in after that.
The biggest thing for me that it changed was that it meant that in my head, it meant we could do songs like Something and Nothing and Born to Be Great and Incinerator and all these things that I think would have seemed so out there as a Four Wheel Drive song, because Four Wheel Drive had released stuff and been around for a long time. So I felt like it did almost validate trying to be a bit more broad in terms of what music we were doing, and for that, to that end, it worked. And I think it's like in reality, in reality.
Can I just, Jamie? Can I run some chronology past you?
I love that. Yeah.
Right. So at some point along the way, we lost a key person from our team, the closest one to us. Was that before your outburst? Because I think that triggered your outburst. I
think no, it wasn't. I know what you mean. No, I think that was after.
Was it?
Yeah, I think it was after, but it wasn't directly after. I think there was a lot of other stuff going on personally with that person.
Yes.
It wasn't as a direct result of me accidentally hitting reply all with a joke.
No, they had itchy feet anyway, and actually had a separate project in mind. Was sort of basically planning to go and do their own thing anyway.
Which I believe we have full responsibility for.
Yeah.
I think that we sparked it.
Yeah, I think so. I think it was like people
might have inspired something.
I mean,
we like to think so.
Yeah, why not though? I mean, if it leads to more good music, who cares? It wasn't like, I think the thing now with bands is that every band pretty much just has to learn to be self-sufficient, and we learned that years and years ago because we did so much stuff. More and more now, bands have become these like cottage industry type things, and we've kind of been doing that forever. In fact, we're sort of more efficient doing that than as part of a label scenario anyway. because it's not really about anyone can get a. I mean, like, you know, I could fart on a record and get it distributed on Amazon within 2 weeks. It's not like you couldn't. It's not like you couldn't do that. Where it matters is what opportunities you get live. Because if it's the rest of it's bullshit, it doesn't mean anything. You sell 4,000 albums, you make the top 10. Like, it means nothing anymore. Well, not nothing. Obviously, it does mean something, but it's not hard. You can do it with a concentrated PR campaign, but that doesn't mean anything. It just means that you've worked hard and you've done some gigs. That the way you sustain yourself is by how you get your opportunities to play live and where. That's more important than any backroom team of. But I'm saying that as someone that's been around this industry with you guys for the last 12 years. And you know, young bands now. I work with a lot of young bands, and I'm doing some production work with people and stuff like this. Which, if you told me that I'd be doing that 10 years ago, I'd have told you to fuck off. But I actually really enjoy it, and I like doing stuff that's not to do with the music that we play. But I say to them, you just have to learn how to do everything. Being in a band is learning how to do everything. How to brand, how to sell, how to locate and source merch, how to do your own tour management, how to do you just have to do everything.
Yeah. You've got to be a social media expert. You've got to be able to reach out to people. You've got to be a networking expert. You've got to like reasonably self-produce as well. Most people, you know, no one has that much of a budget to go hire a studio, get a producer, get an engineer. So you've got to learn the basics of engineering your own records. You've got to learn how to write songs. You've got to, you basically have to just do everything yourself.
But that's easy now. That's doable. I mean, the song we released today, we engineered, produced, mixed, mastered, recorded that whole thing ourselves like 8 years ago. It's even easier now than it was then. You just gotta. And if you're hands-on with your music and you get stuck in and you know what you want to do and all this kind of thing, it's like I think you can learn from having other people involved. Like, one of my favorite experiences in making the record with Toby producing was how
Toby Jepson,
yeah. One of the things that that I learned the most about that was how much easier it is when there is someone that can do all that for you, but often you're not afforded that opportunity. It's not like it comes along every day, and you've got someone who's like your team member helping you a lot, you know, like in the band but not in the band kind of thing, where it just puts everyone at ease. And because the other thing you've got to do if you're self-producing is you've got to be able to be honest with each other. You need someone that's going to go, no, that guitar bit's not right, no, sing that chorus again, no, that drum feels late, you know, and you have to be able to do that without falling out over it. Because you still have to know that it's good at the end of the day.
We are all quite capable of telling each other when something sounds shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's very important to get into the band as early as possible.
Yeah.
You got to have honest feedback and try not to clash egos that much. And if you do, then just try and make sure you get over it as quickly as possible. Because some bands, I think, fall out because they hold things back. They don't critique each other enough.
No.
And then things just kind of go on like that. Everyone's too polite to say anything, and then the quality doesn't really work itself out. And I think that's something that bands need to sort of get in there straight away. It's just like, let's just be honest with each other and try and be the best we can be.
Yeah.
Yeah, Paul, here we go. Paul True. I'm a bit of a late comer to the party with you guys. I first saw you in Guildford.
Go for a week.
I went to see Sons of Icarus. Yeah, Sons of Icarus are really nice guys, actually. And we buddied up with them, and they just really liked us and wanted us to come down to Guildford and do a gig just because they liked our music and they liked us, and we liked beering with them. And
so, Paul, did you see Sons of Icarus? Did you get to know them because of them supporting Clutch? I think you must have, because you look like a Clutch. You are. If I think of Clutch, I just think of someone that looks exactly like you.
In the nicest possible way.
No, you know what I mean, though. Like, yeah, just really men.
Yeah, absolutely, fucking men.
I think Sons of Icarus. They got strung along by some similar people to
Paul. You know what? Paul won't understand that, and I think that we might have to do a whole broadcast on men.
Yeah, we do need to do that. But no, I think Sons of Icarus, they got sucked into the same thing that we were. In the same circles and the same people, and it didn't quite work out for them. I know they had the they had the manager who managed The Answer.
I'm just going to leave you on your own, Jamie.
But what? Oh, for God's sake! I need my dinner in a minute. I'm starving. For God's sake. Yeah. So I think Sons of Icarus had the same manager that had managed The Answer and got them to where they got to. Obviously, they did like a 3 times round the world with AC/DC, and so we kind of thought, oh, yeah, we'll get in with them, and they were moving in the same circles as us. But I think when it didn't happen for them, as with a lot of bands, you kind of sort of start questioning what's the point. But if you believe in what you're doing, then you can just carry on and do. I mean, we only do it because we like spending time with each other and we like playing. I mean, it's not like we're considering it as a way to fuel our habit for Ferraris and mansions and things like this. It's just because it's fun. So that's that, really. And I think you're back.
I'm back. I bet you were on your own for a bit, weren't you?
Yeah, just chatting away to myself.
Did you have like a Brick Tamblyn moment, like in in Anchorman, where you just went, oh no, wait, it was Wayne's World moment with Garth.
No. You know me, I can just keep talking. I don't care.
Yeah, you can definitely keep talking. You're handy in that way.
Well, you know, I've got my uses.
You do.
Benji's back with the LA Thunder t-shirt.
Yeah, we talked about it last time. I thought I'd wear it today.
Nice. So
this came off the back of a man from East Germany about 10 years ago.
Oh yeah, did you do a direct swap?
Direct swap.
It's amazing you found someone, a biker from East Germany, your size.
There you go.
I'll tell you what, I still to this day, I've always wanted to use that way of greeting everyone around a table.
What was that? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, bikers would walk up to a large table of people, and rather than shake everybody's hand and say hello to everybody individually, they just walk up to the table and they bang their fist down on it twice.
Well, I mean,
bang.
That's what everyone's going to be doing from now on. I think the handshakes gotten fucking extinct. I don't know about you.
Yeah, yeah, that's definitely it now.
Gav says the thing that's always stuck out for me about you guys is the fact that you clearly are good mates, and unlike quite a few bands I've experienced who don't get on and are in it for the money. I mean, yeah, we are definitely not in it for the money. Mainly because
there isn't a great deal of it.
It's like, yeah, I don't know. We've always, we've always just got. I mean, that's why we're still mates with anyone that's been around us pretty much. That's had to leave for various reasons or whatever. And I think as we've got older, we've just realised that you don't have to. Oh, thank you, Sally. Oh, the voice for radio and the face for radio, presumably. But we, I think we. I'm
just glad you said it before we had a chance.
Well, you know, it's easier to beat yourself up and let someone else do it.
And see, there's another. It saves falling out, doesn't it? Just
exactly.
like Gav was saying.
Yeah, you got. And that's the thing. Like now, I just think I don't care anymore about who thinks we are what or not. If we want to do a gig and we want to get Paddy involved or Ollie involved and get people, why not? Because it just doesn't matter. We're doing it because of what we want to do. Yeah. It's like,
you know what? I remember us realising we did a few high pressure gigs that we talked about last time. We did Islington Academy and some other like supports and stuff like that. And we'd always like get really tense and pressure. Oh, the band's got to look a certain way. We've got to dress like this. Oh, we've got to look right. We've got to stand here and we've got to behave like this when we go on stage. And then I remember one day, and it didn't take long. We were just like, oh, fuck it. You know, there's no point in trying. We are just who we are. We're mates. We're going to go out and we're just going to play the way we play.
I think that it's like you get to the point where you just go, because I came to this realization maybe like 5-6 years ago, which seems more recent than it is to me. But I just came to this thing like I thought the amount of gigs I've done where I wish I'd enjoyed the moment more and worried about the future less, because I was always concerned about who's watching, where's the band's next step. I was always so worried about keeping the band together and making sure that we always had the next thing lined up and the next thing to do and where was the next rung in the ladder, how are we going to climb it. that I just didn't enjoy stuff for long enough, and I'd always do gigs stressed out, and it'd make my performances suffer and stuff. And now I just, every time I go on stage, if I ain't there just to enjoy myself, then I shouldn't be there. Because it doesn't matter. We're a loud rock band with sometimes you do gigs and the monitors don't work and you're going to sing about a tune because you can't hear yourself, or because it's rock music.
Some people don't even like it.
What? The music?
Nah.
Fuckers.
Bollocks.
Fuckers.
Go home.
Yeah. No, just...
It's when you just give up caring.
Just don't care.
Almost...
Stop apologising and caring so much and worrying about what other people think. I think if you're a bunch of creative people, just create and go out and do it your way. And if it works, if the industry comes along and if money comes along, then great. If it doesn't, then just keep going for the true motivation of just wanting to hang out with each other and wanting to make music together.
Yeah,
and
meeting fans.
Yeah.
When we turned that corner, we started sort of when we relaxed more and we were going out just being divs. We kind of made loads of friends, and like people like Sally, who's in the chat, we like met us for the first time and was like, "I'll come and stay at my house." I mean, we could have been nutters. We could have been all kind. I mean, there's some really nasty people in this world.
Could have been thieves.
But somehow, I think we've our reach has never been to hundreds and thousands and millions of people, but like we've always had this little core of people around us and our little friendship group. It's I don't know if they're fans or it's like our friendship group. And somehow we created this little friendship group around us, and it's always been there.
The weirdest
thing, I feel like it'll always be there, and we'll just, even if we just play to them.
The weirdest thing I found when we did Shepherd's Bush last year with Inglorious was I remember coming out. And I'd sort of knew that it was going to be packed because all the other shows leading up to that, the venues had been full. I remember walking out and I looked out across the crowd and I didn't see anyone I didn't know. And I was like, there's like 2,000 people here. How is there no one that I don't recognize? And it was because then it was like you said, and you realize over the years you've built this like army of people around you. And it was at Shepherd's Bush. I was like, I didn't realize it was quite so many. But when you're doing something and it's like a really big deal and everyone comes out at once because it was one of those like I was there moment type things. I was there from the beginning, or there's people I'd not seen for years at that show, but I knew it's like I knew everyone, and it was weird. Last year I went to Ramblin' Man, and there's about 10,000 people there, and I swear down I walked around that festival site for 3 days and I knew everybody. And I don't know how I knew them. I knew I'd seen them somewhere. I knew I'd met them. Like thousands of people.
The whole scene was there.
Yeah, but you get it's like the line blurs between what's a mate and what's a fan. And it's like I don't really refer to people as fans because I think it sounds arrogant. But like I've got loads of mates that like my band, you know? Like it's not... Yeah, the word fans is a bit of a... Kind of it's an us and them thing. I don't know.
It's a weird one, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is a weird one. We're not very geared like that anyway.
No.
As people, we're not, I don't know. I think some bands have a certain level of, they sort of like that sort of status, but we've never really been that comfortable with it. That's why we don't really self-promote too much to our disadvantage.
We don't want to tell you there's a gig on in case you might be doing something else, and we don't want to inconvenience.
We don't want to bother you.
Yeah.
But you know, you've got an album launch and stuff. You don't have to come. You know, I'm sure you're busy.
Please come to our gig.
Please come to our gig, but only if it's not inconvenient for you.
Yeah. Don't worry, we won't miss you. Well, we will miss you, but we won't hold it against you if you're not there, sort of thing.
Yeah.
Oh man. So my dinner's just arrived, and it's like 10. I think we should start thinking about wrapping up, and we'll just carry on in this vein.
I'm starving.
What I was going to
106 minutes.
100. Yeah, it's been a marathon sesh, boys. What I was going to say was, let's try and wrap up this. Go another round on this like most influential albums thing, because I think that's something like I do want to kind of pick everyone's brains about music and stuff like that. So we did our number one choice last week. Has anyone had to think about another album and what you'd say kind of influenced you the most?
I've got a bit of a random one, bit left field.
Go for it.
I've actually been revisiting it this week. It's a live album. It's Tina Live.
Tina Turner.
Oh.
Tina Turner. Now, I from way back when I was learning the drums. We watched this show on TV, and it was Tina Turner's 60th birthday. It was called Tina Live, or Celebrate. Tina Celebrate, and it was like an intimate-ish gig. It's quite big, but her band were incredible. And I saw this drummer. He was called Jack Bruno, and he just makes everything sound amazing. His groove is perfect. His fills are perfect. His touch on the kit, everything he plays is absolutely spot on. And his snare drums sounded $1 million. His bass drum sounded like it was going to hit you in the chest. And I just remember thinking, and he plays like a few fills that are so tasty. I remember as a kid just looking at that, going, if I ever get to play like that, man, if I can play like that, I have made it.
Was it kind of like tasty fills in a sort of gospel linear type way, like an R&B feel thing, or was it like a rock thing?
It was like a rock thing, but he did have elements of, he had that kind of Vinnie Colaiuta sort of thing about him where he played fills. They were simple in some ways, but so tasty. Like he had amazing rudiment skills, and he played like just licks on the snare drum, and rolls around the kit that were just beautiful as well. And he had such a nice internal dynamics, we call it, where rather than going dugga dugga dugga, he went and I was like, oh, this man he's got magic hands. So I just thought, if I ever get to learn and play like him, I've made it. So I'm still working on it. But yeah, so I listened to Tina live. She's got a live album on Spotify called Tina Live, and you get to hear how incredible she is as a performer and how incredible her band is. And I've been listening to that almost all my life, trying to aspire to that level.
Yeah. Ben, have you got anything else that's like outside of the rock realm kind of thing that's been a massive influence?
Yeah, so Prince by Prince. Yeah. Prince has an album self-named called Prince. And it's got like I Want to Be Your Lover, Sexy Dancer, I Feel For You, who was done by Shaka Khan.
Yes. Shaka Khan. Yeah.
Yeah. Amazing album, full of just the funkiest grooves and amazing guitar parts. You know the rock school guitar exams? I teach some of them. They've actually put "I Want to Be Your Lover" in the grade 6.
Oh, really?
Yeah, really? And it's all really good. So I've actually been working with that on a lad with Velo, who played at Legends.
Yeah. He's
been doing "I Want to Be Your Lover," and it's been really, really enjoyable learning that guitar part.
Yeah, I think that until you start hearing about bands that have these influences outside of rock, you don't realize. I remember when I read Duff McKagan from Guns N' Roses, when I read his autobiography, he just kept talking, and he's the bass player from Guns N' Roses. He kept talking about what a massive influence Prince was on him, and Sly and the Family Stone, and all this kind of thing. And then when you read it and you go back and listen again, you go, oh yeah, no, I can hear like this kind of 70s disco thing and like certain things that he plays in his feel, and you need that like that outside rock influence. You can't be good just listening to rock music. No, that's the problem. You know, so many bands.
I don't. Do you know what I have to say? I don't listen to much rock music anymore. No. I'm a bit tired.
Yeah.
Of it.
Yeah.
Is that bad?
No, it's
but
not bad.
I've been listening to Prince since I was like 15.
But not as much, right? You haven't listened to him every day since you were 15.
No.
So it's still like this fresh thing.
Well, I listen to blues more than anything, really. But like, I looked at Prince and because I got Spotify, I was like, right, I'm going to go into Prince's albums and I want to see, because Prince by Prince was actually the second album he did. Okay. But it was the earliest one that I knew about. There's actually one before that called For You.
Called Almost Prince.
There's one on there. It's the very last track on the very first album, 1978, For You, and he's shredding. 80s. Right. I'm going to give you a blast. I don't even care. I don't care. No. Go. banging.
Amazing.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Let me turn that down again.
No, that was
1978. You know.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Before anyone had thought of doing that.
Yeah.
What
He's a genius.
Led Zeppelin doing?
Here we go. Hold on, lads.
Don't. He's pinking out.
What dreary old boring. Oh dear, squeaky bass drum pedal. Do you think Prince would have allowed a squeaky bass drum pedal on one of his albums? I don't think so.
No.
Not that we can talk.
Jamie, what about you?
So we're doing left field ones today. Then I'm gonna say when I was going to college, where I met Ben, I used to go. This fucking ages me, doesn't it? I used to go in with my CD player every day, and I'd have for months on end. All I listened to was like Back in Black on repeat. It's like one of my favorite albums of all time. And I remember just one day I just woke up, I'm like fucking bored of it now. I just heard it so many times, and my sister had been doing some CD copying for some friends, illicitly, obviously. And she had a whoops, just shot my sister there. And she'd had a copy of the Eminem Show by Eminem, and it was lying on the floor in the living room. And I sort of went, because he was like the biggest thing in the world at that time, and I just avoided it, didn't want to know. And I picked it up. I was like, fuck it, how bad can it be? And I put it in my CD player, and I walked off up the road, and the first track on the Eminem Show is called White America, and it has the biggest stadium drum beat, like rock drum stadium thing, and it was just so angry and visceral. And within 2 minutes of the first track, I was just absolutely hooked on it. And it's because of of what the speed and the way he uses words, the way he constructs verses, and the way he kind of uses weird rhyming schemes and rhythmic jumps in between. There's always something to go back and listen to and hear something else in it. And it's like, it's so interesting to go back, because there's no, all right, he has the occasional guitar solo and stuff. He had Joe Perry on that album from Aerosmith, actually. But you just like go back and revisit it for the lyrics and the things that you've missed out, the jokes you might have missed, or the certain things that just flew over your head the first time because you're just assaulted. He was like the Axl Rose of rap, but he was the Axl Rose of sort of 2003, 2004, because he was just an angry guy who'd grown up listening to punk music and Frank Zappa and hip hop and all this stuff, and he just fused everything, and he was just so angry and clever with the way he used words. I was just hooked for life after that. So that
I remember when we used to come on stage to Lose Yourself.
We did. And
we used to put that on before we came on.
Yeah.
Because it also would refresh everyone's palate.
Yeah.
Because it was heavy, but it's different heavy.
Yeah, exactly.
It's still passionate. It's still amazing, and the guitar part is incredible.
Yeah.
You
know, yeah.
I sometimes do you know what? I've got a whole batch of teaching material that is like, I love doing it to people. They'll say, "Oh, I love guitar, I love rock music and stuff like that." You know, and you just give them a bit of the old. You know, and you're like, oh, what? You don't like rap music?
Yeah.
You don't listen. You know, you've never heard that before.
Yeah, it's amazing. I became a lifelong Eminem fan after that, and it just because I'd been so opinionated about how it wasn't valid or it wasn't good, and I felt like such a dick afterwards because I was like, shit, no, it's actually really good. I've just been missing out. So yeah. That's my left field choice for this week. So we've had some Prince, some Eminem, and some Tina Turner. I like it. But it's that stuff that keeps things interesting. Right, lads, I'm going to go eat my dinner.
Yeah. I'll eat chicken and sit in a hot tub and drink wine.
Oh, yeah, I forgot you've got a hot tub, you flash bastard.
Yeah, flashy bastard, yeah.
I'm going to sit in my living room.
Thanks, everyone, for watching.
So what we'll do, Will, you're going to put the track up for free download, right?
Oh yeah.
We'll bang that up on the SoundCloud. Obviously, if you want to donate towards the next one, the PayPal link's going to be there as well to donate. Thank you for everyone that's already done that. So yeah, we are going to. So sorry, Paul True says, could you start some sort of chat on your Facebook page or similar where some people share their musical influences? I'm on a Clutch UK page and it's been inspirational with all the new music people post up. I'm a bit old and out the loop with that shit. So what I'd recommend if you're into your rock music and you're looking for stuff, go to the New Wave of Classic Rock page because it's full of bands from around the world doing New Wave of Classic Rock. If you're looking for something different, we can start that as a conversation thread and stuff like that. Have a little chat about some of the albums. I say we're going to make this a regular feature as well, like chatting about this kind of thing. We got another at least 9 weeks where we've got another 9 tracks we're going to post. So we're going to do stuff like this. We have probably gone on a bit long today, but if people are enjoying it, it's all good. We'll get some guests on next time for sure. So all we can say
Still
is,
haven't lost anyone.
no, it's great. Let's just have a bloody good Friday, everyone. Bloody
Have
good.
a bloody good
And happy
Friday.
Easter.
And happy
Merry
Easter.
Easter.
Right. What we'll do is we'll play the track out again, Merry Easter, and we will catch up with you all next week. So I've for some reason deleted the track here, but I've got it back again now, so it's all good. Right, lads, I will see you all next week
Tally ho.
for some more FaceTime, and we'll catch you all
See you next
soon.
week.
Take care, guys.
See you. Bye.
See you,
Bye.
boy.